A shadow moves in silence. No one knows his true name. He is Jackal, a ghost in the dark, a hunter in the night, chased by enemies, haunted by his past. Bianca fights to uncover the truth, but the closer she gets, the darker the secrets become. Trust is a lie. Loyalty means nothing. And survival? That's the only rule. In this deadly game, who will live? Who will die? And who is really pulling the strings? The answers lie hidden, waiting to be found. Welcome to the hunt. In a quiet apartment in Munich, an elderly man stands alone in his bathroom, murmuring to himself as he stares into the mirror. But the silence is shattered when the camera pans to the living room. His body lies lifeless on the floor. The man we saw alive? Not Ralph, but an imposter, a professional assassin known only as Jackal. He has killed Ralph, stolen his cleaner uniform and ID badge, and is now rehearsing Ralph's voice to perfect the disguise. Jackal searches Ralph's pockets, finds a pack of cigarettes, slips them into his own coat, and quietly leaves the flat. Later that night, he arrives at a high-security building owned by Manfred Fest, a powerful media tycoon and political candidate. As Jackal enters, the security guard recognizes him, believing him to be Ralph. Late again, the guard remarks, eyeing Jackal's new backpack with suspicion. Jackal doesn't respond. He just stares at the man, then walks on without a word. Using the keycard, he navigates through the building and takes the elevator to the top floor. Another guard on duty greets him. Jackal casually asks who else is inside. Only Mr. Elias Fest and Jennifer, the guard replies. Jackal walks past the glass room where Elias and Jennifer are arguing. He enters a nearby room, opens his bag, and pulls out a silenced pistol. Suddenly, Jennifer walks in. Without hesitation, Jackal turns and shoots her dead. The guard outside hears something strange and rushes in. Jackal shoots him too. Spotting Elias through the glass, Jackal fires but misses. Elias runs. Jackal gives chase, tracking him down the stairwell. A bullet hits Elias in the leg. He falls, begging for his life. But Jackal, for reasons unknown, spares him. He rushes to the rooftop, throws a smoke bomb to the street below, and rappels down the building on a rope. In seconds, he vanishes into the night. Inside a dimly lit room, Jackal removes his mask and peels off layers of prosthetic skin. Beneath it all, he's revealed to be a young, unrecognizable man. By morning, he's already working again. Calmly assembling a custom rifle, he prepares for his next mission. He fires 2 silent test shots at a nearby hospital wall, then he waits, still, focused, deadly, ready for the next target to arrive. Meanwhile, Manfred Fest is en route to St. Elizabeth Hospital, rushing to see his wounded son. Sitting in the back of his luxury car, Manfred reflects on the attack, convinced it's tied to the backlash he's received for his harsh anti-immigration policies. As his car nears the hospital, angry protesters surround the entrance, chanting and holding signs against him. Security clears a path and escorts him toward the building. Far away, Jackal is already in position. Through the scope of his sniper rifle, he locks eyes on Manfred. He breathes slowly and fires. Moments later, the bullet finds its target. Manfred collapses at the entrance, struck fatally in the head. Panic erupts. Security scrambles, scanning rooftops and nearby buildings. But Jackal remains calm. Inside his hideout, he efficiently disassembles the rifle and packs it into a briefcase. Before leaving, he activates a bomb hidden in the room, then exits quietly. He switches vehicles nearby and plants a second explosive inside the car, covering all traces of his movement. Minutes later, law enforcement swarms the suspected sniper nest, but it's too late. The room explodes, followed by the car, wiping out any evidence Jackal might have left behind. The next day, Jackal arrives in Nuremberg. He meets a local man to purchase antique chess sets, an unusual yet deliberate move. With the box in hand, he drives toward the border between Germany and France. At the checkpoint, every car is being thoroughly searched. Jackal waits his turn. A border patrol officer steps up to his window and requests his passport. Jackal calmly hands it over, offering no sign of tension. The officer then asks to see what's in the trunk. Jackal opens it, revealing the small wooden box. The officer points at it. "Open it." Jackal carefully lifts the lid, showing the antique chess set inside. Satisfied, the officer waves him through. Jackal crosses into France without a problem. By morning, Jackal finds himself inside a quiet cyber cafe near a train station. He sits at a terminal, logs into the dark core browser, and checks his account. He sends a message requesting payment for the Munich job. A reply pings back. He's told to wait 24 hours. But then another message flashes on the screen. An offer, 10 million euros. One job, one target. Jackal responds with interest. The sender shares a meeting location. Jackal logs out and disappears into the streets. Next, we find Jackal by the isolated waters of Lake Malari in Sweden. A woman approaches him but never sees his face. She hands him the details. The job: kill Ula dog Charles, known in underground circles as UDC. Jackal listens silently as the woman reveals the target. Then coldly and without hesitation, he demands the price be raised, 100 million, or the deal is off. The woman hesitates. "I'll have to speak to the others," she replies. Without waiting for a response, Jackal turns and walks away, disappearing into the trees. Later, he returns home to a quiet house in Cadiz, Spain. There, he surprises his wife, Nura. It's the only place where he isn't wearing a mask. That evening, Jackal opens the floorboards beneath his closet. Hidden beneath them is a secret safe. He places his weapon inside and locks it away. He logs back into his Darkcore account, demanding the payment he was promised for the Munich job. But instead of a transaction, a single message pops up: "Fuck you." Elsewhere in London, MI6 agent Bianca is at headquarters, examining a newly recovered firearm with her colleague. Their conversation is interrupted as the TV nearby flashes breaking news: Manfred Fest has been assassinated. She watches the footage with growing intensity. A single shot, clean, precise, fired from an extraordinary distance, 3,815 meters. Moments later, she joins an intelligence briefing. Agents from multiple nations are present, including Werner Lechner of German intelligence, who speaks through a secure video link. Werner provides a full debrief. No weapon was found, only security footage showing the suspect leaving with a small briefcase. Bianca leans forward. "That size of briefcase," she says, "can't hold a standard sniper rifle, not even the smallest one, unless it was custom built." She brings up a name: Norman Stoke, an Irish gunsmith who vanished in 2018. Rumors claimed he was building modular rifles with two-part barrels, compact enough to hide in something as small as a laptop case. Her colleagues remain skeptical, but Bianca presses harder. If anyone in the world could have designed the weapon used in this assassination, it's Norman, and if they can find him, they might just find the assassin. After the meeting ends, Bianca is summoned privately by her superior, Isabel. In a quiet office, Isabel gets straight to the point. "How do you plan on finding Norman?" Bianca answers with calm confidence. She has a contact in Belfast, codename Sparrow. Isabel nods once. "Then find him. Fast." Later that day, Bianca arrives at a crowded supermarket in Belfast. There, she meets her asset, Allison. Allison looks around nervously. "If Larry sees me talking to you, it's over. He's Norman's brother." Bianca doesn't waste time. She needs Norman's location, and she needs it now. But Allison pleads for more time. She says she'll try to find something out by tonight. Bianca's tone sharpens. "Tonight, no later." Then she vanishes back into the crowd. That night, Bianca waits. No message, no update, just silence. By morning, her superiors want answers. "Did you find Norman?" Bianca shakes her head. We need a new strategy. She proposes a different approach: leverage. She asks for files on Emma, Allison's daughter, who currently studies in London. Her superiors hesitate. Then they agree. In the next scene, Bianca watches a student protest where angry youth chant UDC and demand transparency about political money trails. Among the crowd, she spots Emma. She signals a nearby officer. Moments later, Emma is arrested for causing disruption and taken to the station. Inside the station, Emma demands a lawyer. Instead, she's told she can call her mother. Then she's locked in a holding cell. Hours pass. Suddenly, Bianca receives a call. Something's gone wrong. Emma is suffering a cardiac arrest. Bianca rushes to the station. She helps move Emma into the ambulance and tries desperately to save her. But it's too late. Emma dies en route to the hospital. The next morning, Bianca gets a call from Allison. Allison is furious. "You arrested my daughter just because I couldn't find Norman in time?" She has no idea Emma is already dead. Bianca keeps her voice steady. She tells Allison that she can get Emma released in exchange for Norman's phone number. Allison hesitates, then agrees. Later, Bianca returns to headquarters. Her face is unreadable. She tells her superiors that Emma had a pre-existing heart condition and might have died anyway. To handle the fallout, her seniors introduce her to a man named Carver. He's not there to investigate. He's there to clean it up. Bianca looks him in the eye and says just one thing: keep Emma's death off the record for 24 hours. Carver quietly nods. He'll handle it. Soon after, Bianca calls Allison. She tells her the arrangements are done. Emma will be released, but she needs Norman's phone number within 24 hours. Cut to Belfast. Allison tries to persuade Larry. She tells him they need money urgently to travel and visit their daughter Emma, who they believe is still in jail in London. Larry sighs and says he already called Norman twice. That evening, the two of them sit at a quiet bar. Larry steps away to grab another drink. That's when Allison acts. She quickly grabs his phone, takes a picture of Norman's contact, and secretly sends it to Bianca. Moments later, Bianca traces the number. Norman is hiding somewhere in a remote forest area near Bruce. She moves in with a team. But Norman is ready. Gunshots explode through the trees. Two of Bianca's agents are killed. Norman disappears into the forest shadows. All that's left is a lone briefcase lying in the dirt, abandoned. Meanwhile, in Spain, Jackal finally receives the long-awaited payment for the Munich job. Curious, he contacts his bank to trace the source. At the same time, Jackal begins researching his next assignment, UDC. UDC is no ordinary man. He's a tech billionaire about to launch a revolutionary software called The River, a tool designed to expose global financial corruption. It will track where every dollar comes from and where it goes. In New York, behind closed doors, a group of shadowy elites watches the launch approach with rising fear. They want UDC eliminated, but they need someone perfect. Leonora, the woman who met Jackal at Lake Malari, assures them, "He's the best we've got." They agree. Jackal will be paid 100 million euros to kill UDC. Back in Spain, Jackal attends a birthday celebration for his son at Noura's family home. Amid the laughter and cake, a message pops up on his phone. His bank has sent him the exact location of where the Munich payment was issued, a bank in Munich. He grows cold. Something doesn't feel right. Without hesitation, he tells Noura he has to leave. She looks heartbroken, but still, she drives him to the airport. As she leaves, Jackal does not enter the terminal. Instead, he turns away. He heads into the city. At a private bank, Jackal accesses a hidden locker. Inside, bundles of cash, passports with different identities, backup IDs. He chooses a new identity, slips it into his coat, and walks out into the Munich streets, a ghost once again. After Nuria leaves the house, she unexpectedly spots her husband in a taxi nearby. A sudden doubt creeps into her mind. Could he be cheating on her? Meanwhile, Bianca is still on the trail. She tracks the bag Jackal carried in Manfred's building and deduces from the logo and the pinpoint accuracy of the shot that their target is likely British and possibly ex-military. Jackal arrives in Munich. Leonora calls him and they arrange to meet in a garden, though she does not see his face. She informs him that her associates have agreed to pay 100 million euros to eliminate UDC, with the task to be completed by the 28th. She hands over 20 million as an advance and warns him to stay low while in Munich. They agree to use the code names, Rodin for UDC and Jackal for the assassin. Jackal investigates the payment trail and finds it came from a company account named Hellalini. Digging deeper, he discovers two names linked to it, Hans Lange and Elias Fest. He realizes the man behind Manfred Fest's assassination is none other than Manfred's own son, Elias Fest. Disguised as an old man, Jackal visits a funeral parlor in Munich, seeking advice on what to do with his deceased wife's large house. The funeral director, seeing his sorrow, mentions they also offer grief counseling. During the conversation, Jackal feigns a migraine. When the director goes to get medication from Jackal's car, Jackal is left alone in the office and uses the opportunity to install remote access software on the director's computer. Meanwhile, Elias Fest struggles to walk after being shot in the leg. Against medical advice, he forces himself onto a treadmill, refusing to attend his father's funeral in a wheelchair. With full access to the funeral parlor's system, Jackal uncovers Manfred Fest's beneficiaries and funeral details. He also finds the name of Elias's driver, Stefan Wolf. Sitting in his room, Jackal contemplates his next move. Then Jackal calls his wife, Nuria. Nuria questions him if he's having an affair. Jackal firmly denies being involved with anyone else. After their call, Nuria goes to her husband's study and discovers the secret safe hidden under the floor. She tries several combinations, but it won't open. Undeterred, Nuria studies the blueprints of the house and finds a locked hidden room inside Jackal's closet. With the help of her brother and mother, Nuria opens the door. To their shock, the room is filled with stacks of cash, fake passports, weapons, and prosthetics. Unknown to them, Jackal watches everything through a security camera installed inside the room. In the next scene, Jackal is disguised as Elias Fest's driver. He kills Stefan Wolf, the real driver, and steals his car. The next morning, Elias gets into his car, unaware that Jackal is behind the wheel. While driving through Munich, Jackal shoots a guard and kidnaps Elias. Racing through the streets, Jackal listens as Elias admits to hiring him to kill his own father. Elias says he was furious after being shot in the leg, which is why he delayed payment. Security officers overhear this conversation on the phone. Elias pleads for his life with money, but Jackal coldly replies, "Fuck you," and shoots him. Jackal plants a bomb in the car, changes clothes, and leaves the scene. Before the security team reaches Elias's car, the bomb explodes. Jackal escapes quickly. Later, Jackal is driving on a road in France but crashes into the back of a truck because he wasn't paying attention. The truck driver gets angry. Jackal offers money for the damages, but the driver refuses and signals nearby police. A police officer arrives and asks Jackal for his documents. When the officer learns Jackal has come from Munich, he orders him to open the trunk. Jackal complies, revealing a bag with a gun inside. Just as the officer reaches for his weapon, Jackal fires first, killing him instantly. He then shoots the driver too. Quick to cover his tracks, Jackal stages the scene to make it appear the officer and driver shot each other. Without wasting a second, he speeds away in the car. After escaping, Jackal contacts Nuria, asking her to meet him in Paris. He tells her there's something urgent to discuss. Nuria, still uneasy after discovering weapons in the hidden room, reluctantly agrees. Later, Jackal cleans his car of any evidence and checks into a hotel room in Paris. Preparing for the meeting, he waits as Nuria arrives. Before Jackal can explain, Nuria slaps him, demanding the truth. Jackal admits his real job, a troubleshooter hired by corporations to solve their problems through industrial espionage. He warns her that his work often involves illegal activities and multiple false identities. He lies again, insisting he never kills anyone, but he assures Nuria his love for her and their son is genuine. Nuria fears the dangers of Jackal's life may put their family at risk. Jackal promises that once his current mission is over, they will have enough money to live the life they desire. Meanwhile, back in New York, the team is unsettled upon learning Jackal killed Elias Fest. They had ordered him to avoid drawing attention, but after finding out Elias was killed for withholding payment, they are surprisingly impressed. They instruct Leonora, the one who connected them with Jackal, to stay close to him until the mission is complete. Cut to UDC, who is swimming on his private island in Croatia. His security team warns him about a possible threat. They urge him not to leave for the upcoming launch event in Tallinn. UDC is unfazed by the danger. His focus is solely on the launch of his software, River. He decides to proceed despite the risks. Later that day, Leonora calls Jackal, informing him that UDC will be at the Tallinn event on the 28th for the River launch. Jackal arrives in Tallinn and heads to an arena where a concert is underway. This is the same venue planned for UDC's launch event in a few days. While the music plays, Jackal begins scouting the area, searching for the perfect vantage points to take his shot. He climbs onto the roof, but suddenly the structure shifts beneath him, leaving him hanging precariously from live electrical cables. Hanging on the edge between life and death, Jackal's phone slips from his hand and falls into the crowd below. After a tense moment, he pulls himself back onto the roof. Once the concert ends, Jackal enlists the help of a worker named Rasmus to retrieve his phone from the crowd. Later, back in his hotel room, Jackal is stunned to find Leonora waiting for him. For the first time, she sees his face. Having tracked him to Tallinn, Leonora warns Jackal not to cross their powerful clients. To prove her point, she mentions that she knows about Norman Stoke. She tells Jackal that she'll be watching him closely until the mission to eliminate UDC is complete, urging him to succeed. Cut to Bianca, who is presenting a briefcase to her superiors. She carefully disassembles it, revealing a hidden sniper rifle concealed within. Bianca explains that the assassin who killed Manfred likely used a similar briefcase to hide his weapon. Isabella updates Bianca that the operation to capture Norman is still underway. Bianca then instructs her colleague Damen to obtain a list of all military snipers, past and present, who could have made the shot. After the meeting, Carver calls Bianca into a private room and begins a psychological interrogation. He tries to determine if Bianca leaked Norman's location before the team reached him in Belarus. Bianca firmly denies any betrayal and leaves the room. That morning, Bianca receives a call from her superior, Osita, who asks to meet her. They meet in a public spot where Osita warns Bianca that there's a mole inside the agency who leaked Norman's location. He advises her to share information only with trusted few. Back at the office, Dahman hands Bianca a list of military snipers he gathered. Bianca asks him to check where each was during Manfred's death. Shortly after, another colleague arrives with a lead, a phone number from Norman's calls before Manfred died. The caller used the codename Jackal. Later, Osita takes Bianca aside to a quiet room. He tells her that, according to intelligence, Jackal has been hired for another assassination. He asks if she knows about a name, Rodin, suggesting it might be Jackal's next target. Osita stresses the need for a breakthrough soon. That day, Bianca asks Dahman about the sniper list again. Dahman mentions only one promising lead, George Hands, who runs a sniper-focused WhatsApp group. Bianca takes George's address and heads out. At George's house, Bianca tries to get info, but he mocks her, saying no one can shoot accurately from 3,815 meters. However, he mentions Alexander Dugin, a sniper who once had that skill, though he's long dead. Frustrated, Bianca leaves and calls Dahman to dig up more on Alexander Dugin. The next day, Larry, using Allison's phone, messages Bianca asking to meet. Bianca agrees and arrives at the meeting spot to find Larry armed with a knife. He suddenly attacks her, trying to kill her. Before things escalate, Vincent, Bianca's former colleague, arrives. Larry escapes in the chaos. Later, Bianca and her team rush to Allison's hotel room, where they discover Allison dead on the bed, strangled by Larry. After the attack, Beyoncé asks Isabella to add Vincent to her team, trusting him completely. Isabella agrees and includes him. She instructs Bianca to keep her updated on every development. That night, Bianca and Vincent go out for drinks. When Bianca returns home, she finds Larry holding her daughter Jasmine hostage. Bianca acts fast and shoots Larry in the leg, freeing Jasmine. She nearly kills Larry before Jasmine stops her. Larry refuses to reveal Norman's whereabouts. The next morning, Bianca and Vincent visit Larry in the hospital. They threaten him and his brother with severe consequences if he doesn't cooperate. Under pressure, Larry finally reveals that Norman is in Budapest, staying in a white building near a cafe and stable. Bianca realizes there are several places fitting that description, so they plan to investigate each one in Budapest. Meanwhile, Jackal contacts Norman through a VPN. He requests a custom weapon that can bypass metal detectors. Norman explains his hand is badly injured and he needs help to build it. Jackal offers to assist, and Norman agrees. Jackal arrives in Budapest, where Norman picks him up and takes him to his workshop filled with rifles, a sight that reminds Jackal of his army days. Jackal presents a design for a metallic boot that can hide a rifle, allowing it to pass security checks. Norman likes the idea and estimates it will take about 12 to 13 hours for programming and 3D printing. They get to work immediately. Later that evening, they discuss the events in Belarus. Norman shares that he was shot by a black British woman, but doesn't know who tipped off their enemies. He mentions receiving a warning from an anonymous number. Jackal suspects Norman is hiding something and warns him to stay careful and discreet. The next morning, Jackal puts on the special boot designed for him. He asks Norman to show him how to assemble it. Norman carefully fits the parts together, turning the boot into a functional rifle. Jackal heads to a nearby forest to test it out. Norman warns him that the rifle only holds 8 shots before it needs maintenance. Meanwhile, Vincent calls Bianca with news. Norman's location has been confirmed. They rush toward the site. At the same time, Jackal is zeroing in on his aim, firing at a watermelon to calibrate the rifle. On his way back to Norman, Jackal spots Bianca's car en route and quickly hides inside a cafe. Bianca has already located Norman's house and sends a warning to him to get ready to leave, but it's too late. Bianca's team storms the place, leading to a fierce shootout. They capture Norman and begin interrogating him. Bianca notices items belonging to Jackal among the evidence. Norman remains silent, but before he can reveal anything, Jackal appears and shoots him in the head. Knowing Jackal is close, the team tries to track him down, but he escapes on horseback. As night falls, Bianca's team continues the pursuit. Jackal takes out several members along the way, but Bianca stays hot on his trail. With no other options, Jackal plunges into a river to evade capture. Frustrated, Bianca fires into the water, unsure if she hit him. Later, Jackal resurfaces and seeks refuge in a nearby barn. There, a local Hungarian farmer named Attila finds him, knocks him out, and ties him up. Attila is furious that Jackal trespassed on his land. After a few punches, Attila orders Jackal to leave. But when he discovers Jackal's hidden rifle, Attila decides to bring him home still tied up. At Attila's house, Jackal offers money for his release, but Attila doesn't understand English. He calls his friend Gabby to help, who then contacts another man, Laszlo, who speaks some English. Jackal tries to negotiate with Laszlo, offering more money. While waiting for his friends, Attila is suddenly knocked out by Jackal. Meanwhile, police continue hunting Jackal. On their way to Attila's house, Attila's friends are warned about a dangerous foreign killer, but driven by greed, they hide the fact that they already have him captured and drive off. When they arrive, they find Attila dead. Suddenly, Jackal shoots Gabby, killing him instantly. Laszlo surrenders to Jackal, realizing resistance is futile. Meanwhile, Bianca and Vincent remain at Norman's workshop, surrounded by law enforcement searching the area. A police officer arrives with news of 2 bodies found on a nearby farm. Bianca and Vincent hurry to the location, hoping to catch Jackal, but he's already vanished. Laszlo helps Jackal escape, driving him away from the police pursuit. During the drive, Jackal calls Nura, apologizing for involving her in his dangerous world. Nura knows him by the name Charlie. Jackal tells her he's in Budapest and fears he might not get out alive. Despite his initial refusal, he eventually asks her to do something important, to find a secret room he's prepared. Back at MI6, the manhunt for Jackal is officially named Operation Anubis. Isabel instructs Osa to bring Bianca and Vincent back to London for planning the next phase. Soon after, Osa receives a message from an American number requesting a discussion about UDC. At the farm, Beyoncé and her team arrive and find the bodies of Attila and Gabby. They are convinced Jackal is responsible for the killings. While there, Bianca gets a call from Oida, ordering her to return to London immediately. Bianca argues she's close to capturing Jackal in Hungary, but after Oida's firm insistence, she agrees to head back. The scene shifts to Charles, also known as UDC, on his private island in Croatia. After a morning swim, he joins a video conference with his board. UDC frustrates the shareholders by insisting the river launch must go ahead, dismissing concerns over falling share prices and asserting his control as the main shareholder. He then rehearses his speech for the event, just 4 days away. Meanwhile, Laszlo drives Jackal through Budapest. Feeling a strange sympathy, Jackal spares Laszlo's life but warns him to keep quiet, threatening harm to his family if he betrays him. Jackal then leaves the car and contacts Leonora, promising to attend the venue and kill UDC. Back at MI6, Carver questions Damien about Bianca's interest in Alexander Dugin, the former army sniper. Carver grills Damien, accusing him of being the mole inside the agency, but Damien firmly denies all charges. Later, Nura arrives in Budapest and meets with Jackal at a hotel. She hands him the disguise materials he requested. Jackal carefully puts on the makeup and outfit, transforming into an old, frail man. With Nura's help, he gets into a wheelchair and they head to the airport. Nura boards a flight back to Spain while Jackal prepares to fly to Tallinn, where UDC is scheduled to launch River. Back at MI6, Osita's American contact informs him that UDC will be in Tallinn for the launch event. Osita quickly shares the intel with Isabel. They conclude that Jackal will likely be there as well, so they instruct Bianca and Vincent to reroute their flight to Tallinn instead of returning to London. On the plane, Jackal notices Bianca and Vincent sitting nearby. Later that night, he arrives in Tallinn. Shortly after, police knock on his door, questioning him about a burglary in the apartment above. Jackal cooperates, but one officer remains suspicious, taking his contact number before leaving. Afterward, Jackal calls Rasmus, the worker who helped him during his initial venue visit, and they go out for drinks. Jackal stays overnight at Rasmus's apartment. The next morning, Jackal meets Leonora at a library. He updates her on the MI6 agents now in Tallinn with him and asks for her assistance in dealing with them. Leonora agrees and begins calling in favors. Meanwhile, Bianca and Vincent meet with Osita at the British Embassy in Tallinn, where they have set up their Operation Anubis base. Osita uses a sketch artist to create a composite based on Bianca's descriptions. In Croatia, UDC finishes his swim. His head of security, Keith, warns him against traveling to Tallinn due to security risks, but UDC insists on moving forward with his plan. Back in Tallinn, Rasmus chats casually with Jackal at the venue. Jackal, posing as an architect, studies the building's blueprints as he prepares for what's next. Rasmus tells Jackal that once the concert ends tonight, the venue will be locked down completely. Jackal persuades Rasmus to sneak him into the building beforehand so he can inspect it one last time. Rasmus agrees, unaware of Jackal's deadly plans. Meanwhile, in Spain, Nura's mother and brother, Alvaro, worry about Charles and what he's involved in. They know Charles hides large sums of cash in a secret room. They convince Nura to let them borrow some money so Alvaro can buy a steak at a bar. Hesitantly, Nura leads them to the secret room, but Alvaro's greed gets the better of him. He takes more money than agreed and steals a gun. Unknown to them, Jackal is watching everything through his security cameras. Back in Tallinn, Rasmus escorts Jackal to the venue just before the concert. He hands Jackal a security badge so he can freely explore the building's interior. Jackal finds a concealed spot where he plans to stay hidden until the launch event. He tells Rasmus he'll meet him later to pick up his belongings before leaving that night. Meanwhile, Operation Anubis receives a tip that the sketch of the suspect matches a man named Peter Gibson. They learn he is staying at an Airbnb in Tallinn. Bianca and Vincent rush there but are ambushed with gunfire as soon as they leave the embassy. Though they escape unharmed, Bianca is shaken, realizing she's now a prime target. At the Airbnb, a military team helps with the raid, but they find nothing. Jackal is safely with Rasmus. Later, at Rasmus's apartment, Jackal packs his bags, says goodbye, and leaves. In New York, Leonora's team is frustrated that their assassins failed to eliminate Bianca and Vincent. That night, concertgoers flood into the venue. Jackal arrives as well and sneaks inside unnoticed, carrying his equipment. He grabs a couple of water bottles and heads to the concert area. He opens a metal grate and settles into the rafters, planning to stay hidden there for the next 2 days. The next morning, the Anubis team decides to distribute Jackal's sketch throughout the town. Meanwhile, UDC's security detail arrives at the venue. Bianca also shows up and hands Jackal's sketch over to Keith, UDC's head of security. A huge bulletproof glass is installed behind which UDC will deliver his speech. Keith's security team seals off the venue and thoroughly inspects every corner. Yet Jackal skillfully avoids detection, hiding under the rafters. As he drifts to sleep, memories flood back of the first time he met Nura. In the flashback, Jackal meets Nura in Spain, where she works as a waitress. Introducing himself as Charles, he invites her out to dinner. Back in the present, the launch day has arrived. The venue is packed with police, security guards, and Secret Service agents. Bianca and her team conduct a final sweep. This time, Jackal narrowly evades Bianca's watchful eyes. UDC steps onto the stage, and the event is broadcast live on television. Bianca's family watches from London, while Leonora's team monitors from New York. Fellow activist Rema Buttons introduces UDC. UDC delivers his speech about River, how it will bring financial transparency and equality to all. Jackal waits patiently for UDC to move away from the bulletproof glass. Suddenly, a security guard on stage attempts to shoot UDC, but fails. In the chaos, Jackal takes his shot but misses. Bianca and Vincent immediately realize Jackal is at the venue. Forced to abandon his plan, Jackal quickly disappears into the crowd. Outside, Rasmus witnesses the commotion and rushes toward Jackal, but Jackal unexpectedly kills him by breaking his neck, leaving Rasmus's body by the roadside before escaping. The story flashes back to 2013 in Afghanistan, where Jackal serves as a British Army sniper. He instructs his spotter, Gary, to be patient to target the right man. His real name is revealed as Alexander Dugan. Back in New York, Leonora reports to her furious boss, Winthrop, who believes they have lost their only chance to kill UDC. Meanwhile, in Tallinn, Beyonce and Vincent discover Jackal's hideout along with the sniper rifle Norman made. They identify a second shooter who had infiltrated UDC's security team, leaving behind a manifesto claiming UDC's intentions behind launching River are sinister. In Croatia, UDC returns to his mansion, angered by the betrayal of his own security guard. He declares that Jackal is his least worry if he cannot trust those closest to him. Later at MI6, Beyonce and the team review security footage, searching for anyone matching Jackal's profile. Daman hands Bianca the file on Alexander Dugan. Due to its highly classified nature, 2 ranks above top secret, most of the file is heavily redacted. Bianca suspects that Dugan and his unit were involved in something the Ministry of Defense wants hidden. The scene shifts to a flashback where Dugan and his team wait for their target. Finally, Dugan fires a shot at a Taliban compound. After the mission, his unit quickly drives away in their jeeps. One of the jeeps is nicknamed Jackal, explaining the code name. Back at base, the team celebrates. Dugan and his spotter, Gary, get drunk when a stranger approaches them with a tempting offer. Easy money to eliminate a target for a friend. Both refuse, but Dugan can't stop thinking about it. Back in the present, MI6 holds a meeting about Jackal. Bianca argues she needs access to the censored file on Alexander Dugan, whom she believes is the only person matching Jackal's profile. Isabel tells Bianca she must get approval from the Foreign Secretary to access it. Later, Isabel persuades Jeremy, the Foreign Secretary, who hesitates but ultimately grants access. Another flashback reveals that Dugan and Gary accepted a contract to kill. In Turkey, they complete the hit. The client praises their work and offers another job, but Gary declines, saying they still have years left in the army. They take their payment and leave. Back in Spain, Nura and her brother Alvaro watch the news. Alvaro sees Jackal's sketch and is convinced it's Charles. Nura calls her husband Charles, warning him about Alvaro's suspicions. Charles urges her to keep quiet. This confirms Nura's worst fears. Charles tells her he'll come home tomorrow to explain everything. Nura demands the full truth when he arrives. Later, Bianca's daughter Jasmine visits and questions her about Larry's accusation that Bianca killed his daughter. Bianca denies any involvement. In another flashback, Dugan and his unit are assigned an extraction mission in Afghanistan. Dugan and Gary take overwatch positions while the rest of the team approaches a compound where a wedding celebration is underway. The team tries negotiating with the guards outside the compound, but talks quickly break down. Suddenly, a fierce machine gun firefight erupts. Inside, chaos reigns as dozens are killed in a brutal massacre. Dugan, realizing civilians are getting hurt, rushes to stop his team. But he's stunned to see his squad killing ruthlessly, showing no remorse. Their leader then orders everyone to keep silent about the incident. As the team celebrates, the compound is destroyed by a missile. Yet Dugan and Gary look disturbed, while the others revel in the victory. Back in the present, Bianca visits Larry in prison. Larry accuses her of making empty promises and claims he lies and kills for his own reasons, just as she does. Bianca expresses sorrow over what happened to Emma and Allison, but Larry refuses to believe her. He calls her sicker than himself and then shocks her by slitting his own throat with a hidden razor. Bianca screams for help, but Larry dies before her eyes, leaving her deeply shaken. Vincent arrives and comforts her, reminding Bianca that her mission is to protect people. Soon after, Vincent tells her she's been granted access to Alexander Dugan's classified file. They enter a secured conference room where OA is waiting with the file. OA warns them that the file must be read there and requires signing a non-disclosure agreement. Bianca reads through the file, learning that Dugan was an expert sniper in a secretive unit. During a mission in Afghanistan, Dugan and his entire team reportedly died in a massive explosion. Still, Bianca remains doubtful about his death. After Bianca finishes reading, Isabel demands OA hand over the file. OA is then escorted away by Carver. In another flashback from Afghanistan, Dugan's team is driving through the desert. Suddenly, Dugan orders a stop, sensing something suspicious nearby. While the unit stays back, Dugan and Gary survey the area. The team breathes a sigh of relief when Dugan finds nothing. But as they prepare to move, Dugan detonates a remote-controlled bomb. The two vehicles suddenly explode, wiping out Dugan's entire unit, except for Gary, who survives in shock. Panicked, Gary believes they're under attack. Dugan quickly tells him they need to disappear somewhere no one can find them. Meanwhile, in Croatia, security around UDC has been ramped up to maximum following the recent assassination attempt. Every boat entering or leaving the island is under strict surveillance. Jackal is also in Croatia, watching the boats carefully. Suddenly, Leonore approaches him, reminding Jackal that only 48 hours remain before the river launch. She pushes him to hurry and finish his mission. Elsewhere, UDC takes his usual swim, flanked by speedboats and a guard swimming beside him. Unafraid of danger, he tells his partner to proceed with launching River if anything happens to him. But his partner doubts the board will allow the launch if UDC dies. Back in London, Bianca visits Captain Mike Baldwin, who served with Dugan in Afghanistan. Captain Mike is bedridden in a hospital, battling lung cancer. At first, he refuses to speak about Dugan, but Bianca's persistence breaks through. At MI6, Bianca meets with Isabel after learning from Captain Mike that Dugan was very close to his spotter, Gary, who might still be alive. When Bianca raises this, Isabel insists the investigation into Jackal is closing. She claims resources must be redirected elsewhere. Bianca pleads with her to reconsider, but Isabel remains firm. Leaving Isabel's office, Bianca tries to contact OA, but there's no response. Meanwhile, Carver begins investigating OA as a possible mole within the agency. Afterwards, Jackal returns to Spain and visits his bank vault. Inside, he reviews his multiple identities, searching for the perfect one to use against UDC. That night, he goes home and spends time with his young son playing in the nursery. Outside, Nura watches his every move through the baby monitor. When Jackal steps out of the nursery, Nura confronts him. She has finally realized that Charles and Jackal are the same person. She calls him a liar and demands the full truth. Jackal confesses he is a professional assassin. Now that the secret is out, Nura believes they can finally have an honest conversation. Meanwhile, Bianca visits OA at the gym and tries to discuss Jackal, but OA shuts her down, saying the investigation is over and telling her to leave. Later, Bianca visits her husband Paul. She admits she misses him and wants to fix their marriage, but Paul suspects she's only there because of troubles at work. Back in Spain, Jackal promises Nura that he's done with the game, except for one last job that will take 24 hours. Devastated, Nura struggles to process the news. The next morning, Alvaro visits Nura's home and tells her about a meeting he arranged with a Cuban gangster named Jimmy Tiguero. Alvaro says he convinced Jimmy that Charles will be his new business partner. Nuria is frustrated and worries her brother is heading into danger. When Nura tells her husband, he assures her he will handle it. He meets with Alvaro and agrees to attend the meeting with Jimmy Tiguero. Alvaro is relieved and thanks Charles. Meanwhile, in Croatia, UDC is visited by a board member who urges him to delay the river launch by a month. UDC refuses, determined to proceed tomorrow. The board member warns that if he launches now, the entire board will resign. But UDC is unfazed, not caring about their threats. In New York, UK Foreign Secretary Jeremy meets with Winther, who leads the team determined to stop UDC. They review their failed attempts to prevent the river launch. Winther is convinced their last chance lies with Jackal. Meanwhile, Jackal borrows a boat from a fisherman friend to spend some time fishing. At the same time, Alvaro and gangster Jimmy wait for him at a restaurant. Using the boat, Jackal shoots Jimmy in the head from a mile away, then heads toward Croatia. The next morning, Beyonce wakes up to news of a Spanish gangster shot dead in a restaurant. The perfect precision of the kills suggests Jackal's involvement. In Croatia, Jackal hires a boat under the pretense of birdwatching. Out at sea, he kills the boat owner, sets up his rifle on a Steadicam rig, and prepares for his shot. UDC's security spots the boat, but since it's outside the 2-mile protecté, they don't intervene. UDC wakes up reluctant to face the day. His partner urges him to stick to his routine and go for a swim. His security team prepares him, including a guard who swims alongside. Suddenly, a security drone detects suspicious activity on Jackal's boat. A man on a jet ski approaches Jackal, but Jackal shoots him before he can get close. UDC's team realizes there's a sniper nearby and tries to keep UDC underwater for safety. As the guard surfaces, he's shot by Jackal. UDC tries to reach the shore, but is shot in the head just before he gets there. Jackal quickly escapes by boat, chased by UDC's security. Back in Spain, Nuria receives a call from an inspector informing her that Alvaro has been detained for questioning about the gangster's death. Meanwhile, Jackal tries to slip out of Croatia unnoticed, but is stopped by the police. In a desperate move, he hits an officer with his car and speeds off. A high-speed chase ensues through the streets, but Jackal narrowly escapes. In New York, Winther and his team watch the breaking news and decide to postpone River's launch indefinitely. They celebrate the news of UDC's death. Winthrop then orders his team to eliminate any loose ends. At MI6, Bianca remains determined to track down Jackal. She confronts Isabel, pointing out that UDC died in the same way as the gangster in Spain. Bianca insists these deaths are connected and demand a full investigation. Isabel, however, refuses to keep the case open. Frustrated and angry, Bianca quits. Isabel smirks as Bianca walks out. Right after Bianca leaves, the Foreign Secretary arrives. He tells Isabel that with UDC dead, their allies now want Jackal captured. He advises Isabel to let Bianca handle Jackal, and then let their friends handle Bianca. In Spain, Nuria bails out her brother from police custody. She scolds him for never growing up, calling him a parasite just like their father. She tells him she never wants to see him again and drives off. Meanwhile, Jackal crashes his car while trying to save a child playing in the street. The car flips, catching fire. A passerby pulls him out just in time, but Jackal then holds the helper at gunpoint, stealing his truck and driving off. Later, Bianca visits her husband Paul at his university lecture hall. She asks him to come home, telling him she's leaving MI6 for the sake of their family. She admits she hasn't always been there for them. Paul agrees to come home with their children. We then see Jackal ditching the truck and asking an elderly couple for a ride to the hospital. The husband hesitates but eventually agrees to give him a lift. Later that day, Bianca is seen enjoying a peaceful evening with her family, but the calm is broken by a knock at the door. Her daughter Jasmine answers it. Standing outside is Isabel, wanting to speak to Bianca. Meanwhile, Jackal forces the elderly couple at gunpoint to drive him toward the Montenegro border. He assures them no one will get hurt if they follow his instructions. Back at Bianca's home, Isabel pleads with her to return for one final mission, to track down Jackal and finish it. She admits it would be an off-the-books operation, but Bianca refuses. She's done. As night falls, Jackal and the elderly couple pull over to rest. He shares a quiet conversation with the old man, opening up about his past. But panic strikes. The woman stabs Jackal in desperation. Left with no choice, he shoots them both. Later, after Isabel leaves, Bianca is visibly torn. Paul, seeing her unrest, gently tells her to go, to do what she needs to do. Jackal, wounded and alone, calls Nuria. He talks about running away with her and promises they'll leave everything behind. He tells her he loves her. Nuria, sensing danger in his voice, urges him to come home first. He promises to be there by morning. The next day, Bianca and Vince land in Spain. Bianca is convinced that either Jackal or someone close to him is here. Meanwhile, Jackal blows up the stolen van to erase all traces, then slips across the Montenegro border hidden among tourists on a bus. Bianca and Vince, now at a Spanish police station, speak with the lead investigator handling the gangster's murder case, hoping to find the missing link. The officer who released Alvaro refuses to share anything with Bianca, but Vince, using charm and patience, manages to get Alvaro's file. Soon, they trace a link between Alvaro and Jackal and demand an address. Meanwhile, Jackal finally arrives in Spain. He calls Leonor to arrange his payment, but over in her hotel room, Leonor is informed she'll only receive her finder's fee when someone named Simon visits her. She instantly senses danger. That night, Bianca and Vince lie in wait outside Jackal's home. Bianca wants Jackal alive, not just to stop him, but to understand everything. Who he is, who he works for. Inside the house, Nuria paces nervously. With no sign of her husband, she enters his secret room, grabs whatever cash she can, and starts packing. Elsewhere, Leonor realizes she's been marked for death. Simon was sent to kill her, but she outsmarts him and escapes. Back outside, Bianca and Vince continue their silent stakeout. Then, Nuria suddenly exits the house with her son. She's made her decision. She's running from all of it. Jackal finally returns home. He finds the place deserted. Just then, his phone rings. It's Leonor. She warns him. The authorities know he's here. They're coming. Jackal rushes to his secret room to pack. At the same time, Bianca and Vince break into the house. But before they can move deeper, Alvaro stumbles in drunk. He spots them, draws his gun, and is shot dead. Jackal, now cornered, locks himself in his safe room. Thinking fast, Bianca pulls the fire alarm. The shrill sound forces Jackal out, and the moment he appears, he shoots Vince dead. Bianca begs him to stop. She offers to help him find Nuria, says it doesn't have to end this way, but Jackal replies coldly, it always had to. A deadly chase begins through the shadows of his own home, but Jackal outmaneuvers her and pulls the trigger. Bianca dies without answers. As he stumbles away trying to flee, a speeding car slams into him. Days later, at MI6, Isabel is promoted to chief. Osa watches quietly. In his phone is a final message from Bianca, accusing Isabel of being the mole. He deletes it. And somewhere in Budapest, Jackal, alive but haunted, meets Leonor. They were both betrayed. Leonor wants revenge. Jackal agrees, but first, he needs to find his family. Then he slips into the crowd and vanishes. Friends, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like and drop a comment to let me know what you thought. Most importantly, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Your love and support are what keep me going. Thank you so much for watching.